Welcome in, Oklahoma football fans, college football fans. Welcome in to a very special edition. Hey, it is a big week because Oklahoma is 2-0. 2-0 against a good opponent. There's so much to be happy about this week, and I know Oklahoma fans are feeling it. I know Oklahoma fans are excited about what the future may hold. There's a lot to get into tonight. We are going to talk about all kinds of things, give my quick OU Michigan thoughts. I wasn't on the post-game show with Chad and Tyranny. Shout out to them. They did a great job on Saturday night recapping what was an action-packed game. We're also going to get into some film review. That's right. It's going to be available to everybody. I didn't get a chance to do it on Sunday. I was traveling, so we're going to do it tonight. We're going to do a little bit of film review. Be careful with that and how we do it because we don't want to receive any letters from the university. And then, of course, talking about John Mateer and some of the amazing stuff that he has done so far this season. And, of course, jumping into the big recruiting weekend that this was for the Oklahoma Sooners and some big news today in terms of the recruiting and all of that. Of course, for those of you who are joining in live, welcome live. If you're one that is used to this channel, if you're one that knows this channel pretty well, you might see some things that are a little bit different because we're trying some new things out. That's why I actually got started a little bit late, but it looks like that's okay because I see that some of you are still joining in with us live. Want to give a huge shout out to everybody who tunes in regularly, and then of course, giving a huge shout out to those who showed up with us last Thursday. We had our first live event at the Woodworks Distilling Company. Huge shout out to those who showed up. We are going to be doing that again. I promise you that. It was a blast, and the staff there was more than welcoming and wants us to come back, so we will definitely be doing that. Keep your eyes peeled for the next time that we're live in Oklahoma City before game day, and it's going to be a blast. But let's get into it because there's so much. First, if you want to help support this show a little bit further, I'm going to give you some options. First, the free option is hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and of course you can always comment, not just the live chat, although you can jump in the live chat and it's extremely welcome to jump in the live chat always, but hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you want to take it a step further and support the show a little bit more, then of course you can always become a member of the channel, starting off as low as $2.99 a month. That link is in the description below, and then you can also just scan that QR code over on the bottom right hand of the screen. It'd be my left as I'm pointing, but you can scan that QR code and it will help you get signed up to become a member. That is just for those who want to give back a little bit further and to help us keep this thing going. And then of course, all all super chats and donations will be read on the show live. We got a bunch. And like I mentioned, there is a ton to get into. So let's get into it. First, congratulations to our Oklahoma Sooners being 2-0. And proving a lot of people wrong. I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but if you tuned in to our live show last Thursday, I predicted this score exactly right and got a little bit of ridicule for thinking that Oklahoma would win by double digits. I literally guessed 24-13. You can go back and watch it. We clipped it. Go back and watch the clip. It's on social media. And so just got to toot my own horn there. But no, it really was the way that I anticipated Oklahoma would have to win this game. And we're going to get into some of that, but they won by getting out ahead and starting off on the right pace, and then just maintaining and understanding how to maintain. Don't just go into the 4-minute offense when you're up 14-0. That's what you could get into a lot of trouble doing, and Oklahoma fans are a little too familiar with coaches that liked to get in there and start to run that 4-minute offense maybe a little too soon, and we've been scarred in the past with coaches that like to do so. But instead, go in there and just understand how to maintain. Keep on driving down the field. Keep on finding ways to get chunk plays here and there, but you don't have to keep on scoring. You just have to keep the ball away from them. And then, of course, that 8.5-minute drive, man. And I was teasing. I went to the game with my cousin, took her with me, and I told her, I said, hey, how great would it be right now just for a nice, long, close to 9-minute drive right here to close out this game? And then kick a field goal and hit my prediction exactly right on the dot. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I feel like that was a little prophetic just because I felt like that was just the formula to win this game. And I have to give it to Ben Arbuckle. I have to give it to Brent Venables. Called a beautiful game this past weekend. And just real quick on my thoughts on the game. First, defense. Defense was as advertised. I don't think any Oklahoma fan walked away from that feeling like the defense missed on the mark. I really don't. I don't think that was the case at all. And, we're going to get to a little bit of that. We can't get to quite as much as I would love to get into in the film, but I mean, it's man. I think when you look at what that defense did out there, they did what they needed to do. The first thing that we mentioned, the first thing that I think most media was mentioning was that you have to get back and disrupt Bryce Underwood. You have to make him look like a true freshman quarterback, and that's exactly what Brent Venables and this defense did. They went in there and they attacked him. They made him feel extremely uncomfortable, and they put pressure on him nonstop. First, Michigan fans that are saying that they should have thrown the ball down the field more, maybe that it was scared play calling. Listen, it wasn't scared play calling. It wasn't that they should have done this even more. He just could not find anything. He didn't have time, and second, I mean, when he did throw it downfield, it was into coverage. The only time that the downfield pass really worked was when I'm drawing a blank on his first name, but McCauley ended up drawing in just a beautiful catch, mossed one of the defenders, and that was one that I actually wanted to use as a little bit of a defense didn't do bad there. I think that was Robert Spears-Jennings. He caught it right over the top of Robert Spears-Jennings. Again, not really a good throw. It wasn't good touch. It shouldn't have really gone there because it was into coverage. Should have been probably intercepted or at least batted down at the very least, but just an incredible catch. So that was the best downfield throw that we saw from Bryce Underwood. So I don't really agree with Michigan fans that think that Bryce Underwood should have thrown the ball even more. I don't see that. He was not very good when he was throwing it downfield. He was throwing it to ghosts. It looked like he was just throwing it out there for anyone to go grab. And so ultimately it would just fell down to, we have to get him comfortable with some of these screen plays, and we have to get those to work to open up the middle of the field. And Oklahoma sniffed it out. Again, we'll get to some of that. But, just when Bryce Underwood got opportunities to throw the ball down the field, he didn't do well with it. He didn't do well at all. And so really good on Brent Venables and this defense. Really, all 11 guys, I mean, however many guys played on defense, they all deserve some credit because they all did their part. I don't know of any single one of them that really did bad. There was only one bad play. Again, we'll probably dive into that. But Bryce Underwood was held down to 9 for 24, 38%, just under 38%, I believe. Only 142 passing yards. And no touchdowns either. That is about as good as you can draw it up to keep them down 142 passing yards against a generational quarterback, against the best 5-star quarterback that we have ever seen walk this planet. Now, I'm over-exaggerating because there are some that have over-exaggerated that way, but I mean, he is a good quarterback. I don't want anyone to go back and look at this and just say, oh, Bryce Underwood has nothing going for him. He didn't perform well, but that was just because this defense performed that much better. And for any Michigan fans saying that they lost the game more than Oklahoma won it, no, that's not true. Go back from the first snap of the game and you can tell, maybe not the first snap because Oklahoma started off kind of slow and then all of a sudden there was a big gain. First snap of the game on defense, at least for Oklahoma, or the one that I really noticed was the first time that Oklahoma kicked it off. You just saw an aggression about Oklahoma. And any time that you see that with that type of aggression and a good type of aggression, not the type of aggression that goes off and gets you penalties or anything, but that aggression just shows how badly you want to win a game. And that's exactly what I saw from Oklahoma right away in this game. They wanted it more. They went out there and they earned it. So, I will say this defense only got 1 sack, but they were putting pressure on Bryce Underwood nonstop. They were constant with it. And then they also combined for 8 total tackles for a loss. And, we got to shout out our player of the week. For those of you who don't follow on social media, we do on social. We've been trying to do more. And one thing that we do over on social media is we put out our player of the week. And this week, Owen Heineke 100% deserved that. Just an outstanding stat line. But outside of the stat line, just go back and watch what he did. And again, I should have, I should have put some of his film into our review here. But man, I had so much to pick from. There were so many good things to pick from. But Owen Heineke absolutely deserves it. A former walk-on, did not play like a former walk-on. He played like a 4-star player at least. I mean, he played like a 5-star player on Saturday. But Owen Heineke 100% deserves this. It's been a long time coming for this kid. I love it. I am absolutely ecstatic for him, and congratulations. He wins the Oklahoma Voice of College Football Player of the Week. And man, does he deserve it. Man, does he deserve it. I mean, the guy was just on fire. He was just absolutely on fire. So I'm really happy for him. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for what is to come for him. I mean, yeah, seven total tackles, led the team there. Led the team for seven total tackles, 2 solo tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, and a pass deflection there. Yeah, I loved it. There was nothing that I could take away from really anything on this defense outside of one play maybe that you see maybe something that should have been. And again, that goes back to the one big play, the one big touchdown run from Justice Haynes. And Justice Haynes is a phenomenal player, and he was held down for most of the game. Okay, and let's just take away Justice Haynes' 75-yard touchdown. He's only held to 50 yards if Oklahoma doesn't make that one mistake. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying this to act like, pretend like it didn't happen. No, it happened. And props to Justice Haynes. He found it. Also, I think Bryce Underwood was he snapped the ball quick when he saw the confusion in the defense. Again, another play that I wish I would have broke down, but the call came in late, and I believe it was Cortland Guillory, freshman, out there on the outside, and he was confused on the play. Bryce Underwood saw it, snaps the ball, and it was as soon as he got the ball, you could see the defense was not ready for it, and so hats off to him. I guess you can really put that one more on Brent Venables for not getting that play call in a little bit quicker. But Justice Haynes got that 75-yard touchdown. He deserves it. He earned it. But if you were to take away the one mistake for Oklahoma and just pretend that play didn't happen, and I know we're pretending here, and it's all a moot point, but he's only held to 50 yards if that happens. I mean, obviously, maybe he gets a little bit more in that drive if he didn't bust off the 75-yard touchdown. I get that. But then also 71 total rushing yards for the entire team if you take that away. So one mistake, it gave Michigan a boost. It gave them a little bit of momentum right away. But Oklahoma responded. They responded extremely well. And man, an exciting game. Great atmosphere outside of the in-between third and fourth quarter. I don't even think it was I don't even think it was the song. People blame the song, but it wasn't even the song. It was just people aren't getting hyped between the third and fourth quarter. And a big part of that is that the lights have a lot more capability of being more exciting than they are. Turn it off. Chant Boomer and Sooner back and forth, and then play some EDM or something. I don't want Jump Around because that's Wisconsin's. Okay, I don't want Oklahoma to be like the guy the team that stole it from Wisconsin. They're copycatting. I like Jump Around, and I know Oklahoma did it, and it was a big moment in several big games. But I don't want that. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think Oklahoma should do differently to get fans pumped up, hyped up, going into the fourth quarter? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. But overall, here's the biggest takeaway that I think is so awesome for Oklahoma is that you have a lot to learn from. And another victory, and a big victory at that. And you have a lot to learn from because your special teams could have cost you this game. Your special teams muffed a punt, and that was Isaiah Satania. Muffed a punt, turned it over. There was an interception thrown. You can learn from that. And then there could have been a third turnover, or at least just it was still a disaster. And that was in the third quarter whenever Jaden Ott muffed the kickoff. And so there's so much that you can actually take from this game and learn from it. So I think that's awesome. And I should have maybe pulled some more learning points for Oklahoma, but honestly, there was more good than bad, and there was too much good. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the film review. I'm going to pull this over real quick just so I've got this. And of course, everybody jump in the live chat. All super chats and donations will be read live on the show. So jump in that live chat. We'll get to the live chat here in just a moment, but let's get into a little bit of film review, shall we? Of course, we've got to select the film review here real quick. Got to pull that up on the screen. Here we go, film review. And couldn't do it the way I wanted to do it here. But anyways, we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work just fine. All right, so here, this is clip one. This is Jaren Kanek's big play. This is Jaren Kanek's big, so he's going to end up coming across the middle here. Now, what John Mateer's seeing is if he looks over here, he's going to watch and see what happens here, if maybe he can cut inside. But instead, he's going to watch kind of what happens here because this guy is going to come off the edge. So he ends up going through here, if this will play here for us. All right. So we get this going, and let me double check. You guys see that all right? You guys, yeah, okay. So he ends up coming off, and right there, first read, he ends up looking over here, and Keontez Lewis here, nothing really. Isaiah Satania, nothing really. And he works it back, and I think he saw this quickly because of that guy that came off the edge, kind of setting that for Jaren Kanek. Now what he sees right away, right in this moment, he looks forward and he sees, excuse me, he sees this guy. This linebacker is not ready. This linebacker is not ready for what's happening right here. You can tell by the way he's standing. His hips are turned inside. He should have already been turning and meeting Jaren Kanek up there, trying to cut him off, doing something, showing that John Mateer can't, showing John Mateer that he shouldn't be passing it that way. But instead, he doesn't do that because then John Mateer fits it in there. And look at all this gap between here. What is that? 3 yards to this guy and maybe 5 yards to that guy, if not more. I mean, there's a bunch there. And Jaren Kanek, I honestly think maybe he lost his footing here or something, because then he ends up like just barely getting up there to catch that ball, but he ends up pulling it in. And the impressive part for Jaren Kanek is that he still doesn't have it right here. He still really doesn't have completion of this ball. And that's really what impressed me the most about that catch, because I was worried. I thought he was going to drop this ball. To be totally honest with you, I thought, yep, that's a drop. That is probably a drop there. But he doesn't. He doesn't drop the ball. He keeps it. He keeps possession. Ends up coming down. And I wish I would have played again. Man, there's too much to get to. But his little celebration, getting up, rolling the dice, big first down. Jaren Kanek, man, the reason why I wanted to show this clip so bad is because he deserves it. If memory serves me correctly, I don't have this stat pulled in front of me, but I think I saw somebody say that Jaren Kanek is leading the SEC in tight ends, the tight ends in the SEC for receiving yards. Okay, let's see that, man. Let's see it. All right, let's go over here real quick. All right, this play, clip number 2 here, we've got Michigan. They're going to end up jumping off sides here. And when they jump off sides, John Mateer reads it quick. The flag honestly didn't come out quick enough, and so I'm glad that it all worked out the way it did. I don't know, maybe I'm not remembering that correctly, but you're going to see Jaden Ott come over, and then you end up seeing a guy come over up here. This guy's going to end up cheating down. That's really what makes this play. Now, of course, John Mateer, he recognizes that the false start, or sorry, not the false start, but the offsides has already happened. So what he's able to do now is just unload. And again, this guy, you can't see him too much there at the top of the screen, but this guy ended up cheating down enough. Now he tries backing back up, but it's too late, and there's already an opening right back here behind him. And John Mateer saw that quickly, and man, that's exactly what he needed. Not only that, but when you back this up too, look at that. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men coming right in. Look at this offensive line, all ready to go. They performed so extremely well. That's something that I did not mention in my thoughts of this game, but the offensive line did so well in this game. And this is one of them, but a guy ends up getting through. That fifth guy ends up coming through. There's the penalty flag, ends up finally coming out there. Guy gets through. John Mateer delivers that dot right back here behind the defenders, right up over top of them. And, I was told that because of his sidearm throws that he was not going to be able to get it over top of zones. He wasn't going to be able to get over top of coverages, but instead, look at this right here. He gets it right over top, right through. And, if you lead him too much, first of all, if you lead him too much, who knows, this guy might have the ground there. Not only that, but, if you come inside too much, again, this guy could have some ground here. This is really the only player in play. And John Mateer had no time. Look at that. He gets the ball out, and he flips it so quick. So he's already winding up right here. I mean, there's not much gap right there. There is not much of a gap between him and the defender. And he sees that. He gets it out quick. He gets hit, too. And that's the other thing is John Mateer was taking some hits, not just in the run game, but in the pass game, he was taking some hits, but getting rid of the ball. And again, when he was taking a hit, getting rid of the ball, it was still being found to a receiver. And so, I mean, that's just some absolutely amazing stuff. Deion Burks sees the ball, comes in, gets it. Another really beautiful play. And this is just showing Ben Arbuckle's ability to be able to call for this at this level, calling plays against SEC Big Ten defenses. This is elite stuff. So, Mateer saw that cornerback come down, delivered it over the top really quick, made that decision in just a split second. Let's go on to clip 3 here. This is where, so a QB draw over to the right. Now, this is a really fun play. This is like, man, I'm trying to think, 12:54 on the clock. Yeah, this is probably the first play that was like, okay, Oklahoma's going to run Mateer, and they're going to make sure that they use that in the +1. So the +1 running game means that because the quarterback is carrying the ball, that you now have an extra blocker in the running back. So let's watch what happens here. So we're going to see Deion Burks here. He's going to come across in motion. I believe just before this too that Jaden Ott switched over to the other side. So what that tells the defense with that motion, with bringing the running back over, bringing the receiver down, is, hey, we might want to stick over here on this side. I mean, it could be a counter play, but you're going over to a weak side of the field. Not usually as often, but it's still something. And you're going to see the defender come across the field with Deion Burks as well. So he ends up drawing the defender across with him here. And so as he comes in motion, so see this defender comes down. Now look at this up here, nothing up there. Now they're going to read that this is a handoff off to the left side now. And so the defense is right. Okay, we love that, because then instead it's not. But this guy ends up taking the running back. He sees it as maybe a screen. John Mateer actually pumped that really well, and he takes off. Now Jaron Kanik comes across. We've also got 77. Is that Ozida? I'm sorry, I'm not remembering the offensive lineman's numbers right now off the top of my head, and I've been bad about that this season. But anyways, you've got two guys coming across. You get Jaron Kanik comes across for the block. He does pick up a block, but not very well. But what John Mateer does right here is he sees this guy, and he just gives him a shimmy. He says, hey, I know I can beat this linebacker. I know this linebacker doesn't stand a chance to me. So he shimmies. He comes inside and squirts it back outside. And by doing so, he ends up using him as a blocker right here. Look at this. He holds up two other guys just from that. Jaron Kanik's foot might have caused a little bit of an extra block there too. But yeah, I mean, he ends up causing all of this mess just because of that juke. So John Mateer with the big, the big shiftiness, the vision. There's so much to look at this with John Mateer and recognize just how great he is as a runner. Now here, I mean, so honestly, I'm probably calling him down right there, and I don't remember if they did, but that was kind of like a sliding motion that they're drawing off of him a little bit. But he ends up spinning off of it, getting forward. I don't think they counted that as a down, but I would have probably ruled that as you showed slide, we're going to call you down right there where your butt was dipping. But anyways, John Mateer looked really good in the run game. let's go on to number 4. Okay, so the number 4, this is a defensive play. Get to showcase the defense a little bit. They're going to show screen over here. So they're going to show a screen off to the right side, I believe. Yeah, so you're going to see a screen. He's going to come down. This is just watching the swarm on this play is what really impressed me. So watch as quick as Bryce Underwood, as quick as he turns this way. Watch how quickly you see Owen Heineke, I believe it is, down here on the outside here. And then you also see Kip Lewis turn and pursue. Then you're also going to see, let me clear this, you're going to see David Stone up here in the middle. He's going to come out to the outside, kind of gets blocked there, but as soon as he sees that pass, he also starts to pursue. Now, he didn't do too much with the play, but it's just the pursuit, okay? Because that's what I'm really showcasing here. So, look, as soon as his eyes go over, Kip is already on it. He's already starting to turn this way. And you can't really tell by freezing the motion there, but he's already turning this way. As soon as those eyes are over, Owen Heineke right away, he started off back here and just starts coming off, beelining over, and he's reading this play. Again, this is film study. This is film knowledge of what's going to happen. Gentry Williams fighting through, but a really good block here. I got to give that. I think that's their tight end. Just a really big block. Yeah, it looks like a tight end. I mean, if he's not a tight end, he's a big boy. But right here, Owen Heineke cuts this off. He comes in there, swarms to it. Again, look right here where David Stone is. This is a big dude. This is a 300-pound dude, and he's turning right away and flipping right out there and getting to the running back out here on this screen. Now you're also going to see you're going to see another big one here because Kendall Daniels, he doesn't come downhill very slow. He comes down extremely hard. So he ends up coming downhill and then ends up making this play. So, I mean, I'll kind of back it up here. Bam, just ends the play right there. Now, I want to rewind this one really quick time. Look at who this is over here. Do you know where he just now came from? I know he didn't make the play. He wasn't even really a part of the play. But if this was a missed tackle, guess what? You've got one hat down there. You got two hats down there. You've actually got three because Owen Heineke's down in there too. You have R. Mason Thomas is running across. He's not really there. I think you've got McKenzie that could have probably come over the top. But Cortland Guillory here, what is he doing here on this play? Let's rewind and see where he came from. This is Cortland Guillory way up here at the top of the screen. And as quick as this guy comes down here for a screen pass, Cortland Guillory meets and joins the swarm. I know he doesn't create the play here, but look, he comes down in on a blitz, and he's coming across. He sees the ball out already, and he cuts across and joins the swarm, joins the swarm of crimson all around down here. And he ends up coming across where he's back up here at the top up here to help out if there is a miss on the tackle. That is what you need, hats down there and swarming to the ball. And I believe we've got another one that we're going to get to as well that's very similar to that. We might not get to that one, but this happened a lot in this entire game. All right, let me see here. That was clip 4, clip 5. All right, I could go to clip 5, but we've shown enough of the offense. I want to show one more of the defense, and this is one that I know you guys will appreciate that I played for you. Just because, let me get this off the screen. This is just studying in the film room, knowing what's happening on the field, being aware of your surroundings, and then swarming to the ball. Again, getting hats over there. If you can't make the play, you make sure that, if your teammate can't make the play, that you make sure you're there to help out with that play. Now, you're going to see a little bit of recognition here. This is looks like Kip Lewis. I believe, let's see here. I'm trying to see. McKenzie right here. You've got Kobe McKenzie. He's going to drop back, but then cover over top. And just, again, let me clear this. Watch what Kendall Daniels does here. And this is this is the play of the night. And he had several of them, but he ends up recognizing this coming down. Now, I will say, as good of a play as it was by Kendall Daniels, I'm hoping that I don't accidentally say Kendall Dolby. As good of a play as it was by him, it was actually a much better play right here. I believe it was Samaj Morgan, but it was a better play for him on defense because he ends up cutting across here and actually ruining the blocks that are supposed to be set here. So this was just a really bad play. I don't know how this was drawn up for Michigan. Maybe he's supposed to come across and kind of set a little bit of a pick, but he cut straight across, got right in the way of the other receivers there. This is the guy that gets the ball. So whenever he ends up screwing this up, these guys can't make the block, and Kendall Daniels is able to come down. And of course, again, look at this. He's right here. He sees that right away. I mean, there was no hesitation. He jumps it right away. I mean, again, this is knowing your opponent. This is studying and paying attention in the film room. This is just absolute dominance. Again, Kip sees it. He recognizes it. I can't see who that is. That's probably a safety. You're probably Robert Spears Jennings there. I can't see the number. I might be wrong. Didn't take down on notes on who that is. But then you've got McKenzie drops back. But then when he recognizes it, as he does come in there, kind of as that backup help. Again, recognizing that if your teammate can't make that play, I'm going to be there to help him. And then of course, again, look at this right here. Samaj Morgan kind of cuts this off and kind of gets in the way a little bit. This was actually, no, I was wrong. This is just a bad block. This is just a bad block. He gets it. He doesn't even get a block in there. Look at that. So yeah, I don't know. I think I must have watched this and fast forward and not paid attention to the fact that, yeah, this was just a bad block. But then of course I'll play this real quick. Boom. And then of course that's the freeze motion right about there that everybody loves to see, is just Kendall Daniels dominance. I loved it. I know Oklahoma fans loved it. This was a great game for Oklahoma. And again, I wish I could break down more. We have to be a little careful on how much we break down. Who knows? I might end up getting a little bit of copyright. I'm pretty sure I'm safe within the laws, but YouTube doesn't always know that. They don't always pay attention to that. Anyway, I look at so much from this game, and I think there was so much that we could have dove into and broke down, but this was just an overall dominant performance from this team. And I know I'm not like the most ball knower guy out there or anything, but I know enough to recognize when good plays are being made. And it was a defense that was constantly swarming. Absolutely loved it. And after this weekend, what we saw was John Mateer performing really well, of course, and we broke down some of what we saw from John Mateer, but he's starting to silence some of the doubters, and that's what Oklahoma fans are very excited about. And there's been a lot of hype for John Mateer and what he's capable of this season. Some people picked him for season, and I think some people thought that maybe he could be. And I will throw this out there. He did earn SEC Offensive Player of the Week. He deserved that. He had a phenomenal offensive game. And I also think, I think there's other offensive players you could definitely shout out. Deion Burks had a really big game. Satania, even though Satania had some mishaps during this game, and he's got some things that he could learn from, he performed really well. And he had some really big plays when they mattered the most. And so he turned it around, had some really big plays. And then you also had Jaron Kanik, I think, is another guy that you've got to throw in there for a guy that really had some really good plays. I mean, just an all-out baller. And I love to see how much that we've got playmakers that we can watch week in and week out here on this Oklahoma team. But first, NCAA Football Nation, that's one that you see that they're giving a little bit of recognition to John Mateer, putting him at the top of the rankings for Heisman. Another is College Football Report. They kind of show the rankings there. They give their rankings and kind of favor John Mateer again up there at number one, moving him up to the top. And I don't know where they would have had this is actually, following week 2. So, I mean, you got John Mateer up there at the top again by another pretty big account. And then, of course, the biggest one, I think the one that got the most attention is On3. They took a college football week 3 Heisman poll, and it ended up this is a popular vote, and it puts John Mateer up at the top of the list. Now, of course, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. We can't get too excited, but this is really good stuff from John Mateer and really good overall. I mean, just he's a playmaker. We saw it game one. We saw what he's capable of, shooting over 80%, and then of course throwing over 80%, and then of course in game two, another solid performance over that 71% mark, and putting up numbers, 4 total touchdowns on the day. I mean, you've got. I mean, he's showing it, and he's leading the team in so many different stats and rushing, which concerns me. But I think that that's going to kind of work itself out. I mean, John Mateer is a dude, all right, and he's showcasing that. If he keeps this up, I don't see how many others can really jump ahead of him. And honestly, if he keeps this up, if the defense keeps on doing what we know they can do, this is a dangerous team. And I think there's finally some valid hopium for Oklahoma fans right now. I think Oklahoma fans are finally feeling confident about all the hype that was put into this team, and John Mateer is a huge part of it. Now, I don't know how I could really say. I mean, I want to put others above him because I'm trying not to be biased. But when I look at the field of guys, especially the guys that maybe On3 puts on here, I don't really know too many other players in the nation that I could really put above John Mateer and what he has meant to Oklahoma. When you talk about what the Heisman means, showing up and being the most valuable player on your team and showcasing with stats, leadership on and off the field, what he's put together this season so far, I mean, I don't know if I could put many players above him. He really has been absolutely phenomenal, and I've been ecstatic to see him perform the way that he has. And man, he's a ball maker. He's a ball player for sure, and he's a playmaker. He's going to do some special things in Norman. I think Oklahoma fans are taking notice of it. Oklahoma fans are feeling excited about it, and of course, this is a team that we can really be excited about. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on him. Is it too soon for the hype? Is maybe it did it come a little too late? Let me hear your thoughts. What you think about John Mateer and what we're seeing from him so far this season. This weekend was not just a big win for Oklahoma on the football field, taking down a top opponent and a very much feared opponent. An opponent, I mean, again, I don't think, even after this game, I don't think anyone can look at Michigan and just say that they're not good. I think Michigan will be just fine. Now, is maybe 9 wins in the mix for Michigan? That's possible. I think 9 wins is like their low mark. I think they looked like a pretty good team. It's just that they got outmanned by a very physical defense, mainly that defense. Michigan's defense maybe has some work to do, and I think there's definitely some that we could probably pick apart for their defense and say that they could do better. But overall, this Michigan team is a good team, and I think Oklahoma fans will obviously keep on cheering for them. I think we're going to look back at this game later on in the season and say, man, that was a really good win. We're feeling that way already, but you've got to have some skepticism. I think the way that Oklahoma won it, you feel really good, and I think you're valid for feeling so good about Oklahoma going forward because of the way that they won it, because they won by double digits. They won by 11 points. That's huge. Grown men cover the spread. They go out there and they don't just win the game. They win by covering that spread, and they did that and then some. They actually exactly doubled that spread. So this was a really good performance for Oklahoma. But anyways, not just on the field, but it was also a really big game for Oklahoma in recruiting. When you look at all the recruits, I don't even know what the final number was, but I know when you were there at the game and you saw them all lined up down there on the field, they took up the entire south end zone. I mean, there were so many recruits, and there was a lot of really big recruits. There's a reason why there were so many recruits there for that game, because this team felt, this coaching staff, the team, they felt like this is a game that they can go in there and make a huge statement for Oklahoma, for the Sooners. Make a statement saying, if you come here, you have the opportunity to develop into this. And play in this atmosphere and to go on to be an NFL type talent. That's what they showcased on the field. And of course, that was exactly the case for one recruit. You had Demari DeZume, and I'm not sure if I'm saying the last name right. Again, I'm going to have to ask Parker Thune on how I'm supposed to pronounce that name, but Demari DeZume, he committed to Oklahoma today. Big-time recruit for Oklahoma, big-time commitment, a wide receiver, four-star wide receiver, number 79 overall prospect in the 2027 class. So they're building onto that 2027 class already. And of course, there was a lot of flips that feel like Oklahoma is sitting really good with, and we'll get to some of those as well as we get closer to them. But picking up Demari, I mean, this was a big pickup for Oklahoma, getting this commitment. He's out of Pacific Palisades, California. He mentioned to rivals that he said committing this early really wasn't part of his plan. He didn't really want to commit this early in his commitment and his recruiting stage, but it just felt right for him. And you love to hear that. You love to hear that for Oklahoma, that they made him feel so confident after that win that he was like, you know what, screw this. I'm not waiting any longer. We're committing. We're committing today. Let's make that announcement. Let's go. Let's do it. We're going to the University of Oklahoma, and that's huge. So picking up a big wide receiver, and again, I think this was a game that you can showcase that the wide receivers are looking pretty good. I think you can see what Keontae Lewis has to offer. I think you can see what Satania has to offer. You can even look at what the tight end, Jaron Kanik, has to offer. You can showcase so much about this Oklahoma team to say, hey, there is a ton of good stuff to offer here to a young wide receiver, and it obviously was enough to make him make the decision today. And so big time get for Oklahoma, building onto that 2027 class already. Love to see it. But it didn't just stop there. Oklahoma also gets four-star, doesn't get, but there's a lot of hope and there's a lot of expectations now for Oklahoma that now Oklahoma is projected to land quarterback Peyton Houston. And I believe, I didn't write down that date, but I believe that's next Monday, next Tuesday, somewhere in that range. And so be on the lookout for his commitment when it comes next week. The fact that he was willing to move that commitment date up a little bit shows that, hey, Oklahoma's got a really good chance for this four-star quarterback. And he announced moving that date up before the game. But again, because of how this game went, you feel really good about Oklahoma landing Peyton Houston. And of course, he was in attendance there against Michigan. And now, something that I heard, and this is not something that I'm going to report and pretend like I know the inside scoop on this, but something that I heard is that if Oklahoma were to land four-star quarterback Peyton Houston, that maybe there's a 2026 recruit that Oklahoma could flip along with his commitment. And it's a big wide receiver that Oklahoma really wanted out of his recruiting cycle. But I won't say any names because, again, I'm not going to pretend like I know anything behind the scenes here. I just know that this is something that I heard that people are feeling like they've got a very good suspicion that could be the case, that he brings a big wide receiver with him as well. So Peyton Houston, I believe, Peyton Houston's a 2027 quarterback. So Oklahoma's got their 2026 quarterback in Bo Bentley. They've got a 2027 in Peyton Houston, adding on to that. But then also the wide receiver that I'm thinking is a 2026 wide receiver that Oklahoma's hoping to be able to flip with the commitment of Peyton Houston. So I don't know. Again, this is all just speculation. It's also just kind of rumors that I'm hearing. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know something that I don't. But I'm really hopeful for it. I think this is a really good sign. You go out there, you win big games, you end up winning big commits. And guess what? There's some flips that are about to happen. If Oklahoma keeps this up, you can bet that it's going to happen. But you already are starting to hear some rumors and some hype that there's more flips that could happen. I know that Cooper Hackett mentioned how much he enjoyed his time at the game and how much he enjoyed the atmosphere. Now, I'm not sure that Oklahoma flips his commitment from Texas Tech, but I mean, they're pushing really hard for it. And as hard as they're pushing for it, they've got a case to be made here. And especially with how you look at how really everyone performed, but you look at how that offensive line performed against a very good Michigan defensive line and really front seven. This is how you flip commitments. Oklahoma's also trending for some commitments in 2027, four-star cornerbacks, so DBs, in Montre Jackson out of Garland, Texas, and then also Mikhail McCreary. So you've got a couple of dudes there also that Oklahoma is really hoping to be able to pull commitments from. And so this was a big-time game, big-time win. Again, not just a big-time win on the field, but also a big-time win for Oklahoma off the field when you look at the future and you look at what they were able to do in the recruiting cycle. But that's pretty much all I've got on the recruiting trail. We will keep our eyes and my ear to the ground as we learn more about some recruiting stories that are going around right now that I hope break. And there's a lot of rumors. Again, there's a lot of rumors with flips. There's a lot of rumors with other commits that Oklahoma was pressing at one point and kind of fell away from the graces of that commit, of that recruit, but then now have surged back up to the top with this big win. And of course, with over 50 recruits in the house against Michigan and that big of an atmosphere, that loud of an atmosphere, all those recruits saw that. They took notice. There's even recruits that weren't there that I'm sure took notice. And of course, you've got some that are already committed that are also trying to push and get some commitments. You got guys like Brian Harris, the Jandro brothers, which I was able to stop and welcome them in. I was walking by, I looked over, and was like, "Oh, hey, welcome in, guys. Really glad to see you guys here." And I got to talking with them, told them, "Hey, have fun, guys. I hope you have a blast." And they're like, "Oh, I'm sure we will." But yeah, I mean, and I'm sure they were excited to be here, for such a big time, a big time game too, big time show out for Oklahoma. But the commitments are going to keep on flowing in. I promise you that. And even though that flip, I really think that there's going to be some flips that you're going to see. But anyways, everybody make sure that if you're not already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to support the show a little bit further, this isn't anything that we're going to press you guys to pay, but understand that for all of us here at Oklahoma, the voice of college football, it takes time. You can ask my wife how much time I put into just one show, let alone everything that we do throughout the week and for the network. But I mean, if you want to support the show a little bit further and to help us, it takes time, it takes money, it takes resources. You can scan that QR code down at the bottom of the screen and sign up, or otherwise there's also a link down in the description below, but sign up to become a member for as low as $2.99. Of course, make sure to tune in live on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, all at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Mondays with Sooner Smiths, Tuesdays with myself, and then Thursdays are our preview show. We're also going to be taking call-ins on our Thursday preview show, so make sure to tune in for that. And then, of course, we're also adding a Sunday matchup. So, I mean, we're of course post games. You can always join in here with us as well. That's something else that I forgot to mention. But we're adding a day after, so a Sooner Sunday, I think is what we're calling it, Sooner Sunday, and we're going to dive into the game, more of reactions after we've had some time to go back and look at it, give more of our thoughts. So we are just absolutely loading you up here for Oklahoma football season. So make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member by clicking the link down in the description below or by scanning that QR code on the screen. And of course, you can also go to vocfb.com/shop, check out our merchandise shop, so much more. I mean, again, all we ask is that you just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment down below as well. But of course, as always, we appreciate everybody so much for all the love, all the support. We'll catch you next time. Boomer.